everybody, it's Kelly with the Garden Whisperer. If you're unfamiliar with what I do, I design flower beds and garden beds for homeowners where they can either install it themselves or they can hire a landscaper to install it for them according to the design plans. So I'm going to be doing four separate videos, part 1, 2, 3, and 4 on my top deer resistant plants, shrubs, and trees. And the reason I'm doing 4 different videos is because my phone will only let me literally take videos up to 32 minutes long, and then it shuts it off. So, yeah, eventually I'm going to upgrade my phone, as I keep saying, but, you know, one thing at a time. I'm just so busy with so many things that I just have to really get organized. But anyway, so I'm going to do, I have 4 different flower beds going that I've been working on. I'm still working on them. It takes time. But this one is my front flower bed, and we've got the trellis there and the pathway. Now, we had really bad rain for like 4 days straight, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then no rain yesterday, which was Wednesday, and today's Thursday, and we got rain again, and we're supposed to get rain again tomorrow. But then Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, it's supposed to be sunny and no rain. And it was crazy because we had so much rain that some of my plants were actually wilting from too much water because they were getting like waterlogged. But luckily they perked back up, so that's good. But anyway, all right, so I'm going to try to make this quick and short and sweet. So number 1, top deer resistant plant. It's died back right now, the blooms, daffodils. Daffodils are awesome spring blooming bulbs. They bloom for like a couple weeks. And then I also have here, which I deadheaded them as well, is the Grape Hyacinth Muscari latifolium. Now, because it's new around here and the deer are not used to it, they did chomp on it in my other flower bed, but they've since left everything alone and they never touch these. So I'm going to say this is definitely a contender. If you're worried about deer, plant them around daffodils like I did and they will not touch them. At least maybe initially, but then they'll realize it's not so tasty and they'll leave it alone. Okay, so, and then here we go. We've got, and it's just popping up for the season. This is Bowles, B-O-W-L-E-S, carex grass. It's actually a shade-loving grass, but if you're in like a wet, cool area like we are up here in Northeast PA, it'll do just fine in full sun. But in full sun, it gets more yellow, and in the shade, it's more of a chartreuse color. And then I have another one over there. So those are highly deer resistant. Most grasses are. So yeah, and then third one, this is catmint. And of course I have another one over there. That's just starting to pop up for the season. You can see there's some buds coming on here. All these are all new buds. So catmint, this is cat's pajamas. Or they also call it nepeta or nepeta. Depends on how you want to say it. Another top deer resistant plant. They do not touch it and it dies back in the winter. Now I'm going to tell you up here in Northeast PA, because the deer are so bad, if they didn't die back in the winter, I bet you they would try to eat them regardless if they don't touch them all year round, like spring, summer, fall. But, you know, that's what we get up here. Here's the next one. This is Russian sage. Now, the cool thing is the stems get like a white silver in the winter. It's really neat. But this is going to push out. It's all new growth. I cut it back already. It's going to push out. Did we already have? I think we may be getting a bud right here. Oh, it's going to push out these real pretty bluish flowers. And the bees love it. Another top deer resistant plant. They do not touch it. Here is... Poor little thing looks sad. I don't know how they're going to do this year. These are Potentilla, Pontilla, I think it's spelled, or otherwise known as cinquefoil, Cinquefoil. And this is Happy Face Yellow. And there's another one over here. That one looks a lot better. If they don't do well, they were doing better in my other flower bed, but I have a feeling when I transplanted them last year, it was like I shouldn't have done it. I should have known better. I did it like in the middle of summer, which is like the worst time to transplant. You want to do it either early spring or in the fall. But no, because I'm impatient. So they've had a couple blooms on them last year, and they did better in my other flower bed. And like I said, I think it's because there's still a lot of clay in this soil. It takes a few years for it to really get going, and you know, where the soil gets like really good. So we'll see how it does this year. If worse comes to worse, I'm going to transplant them and put them in my other flower bed. And I may put Blue Star Juniper here in place of both of them. So we'll see what happens. But they are relatively highly deer resistant. They did kind of nibble at this one last year a little bit, but nothing too bad. And that one they pretty much left alone. So somewhat. And then we have, so pretty, the gold cone juniper. And of course I have another one over there. That one's a little smaller. Where you go? Right there. And they really, I mean, the babies did kind of nibble at the tops last year because they're, like I said, they're opportunistic, nosy scum suckers. But the new growth, you can see it's also yellow. I love it. And then if you look on the inside, it's like a bluish green needle. So they're really pretty. And last year, I didn't really get any of this gold, but this year there's all new growth. So it's just looking awesome. So the junipers are highly deer resistant, but I still cover all my new trees and shrubs for the winter until they get established and they get a lot bigger, because I don't trust the dirtbag deer in the winter. But I let them out of their cages, and we're still in spring, so, and they've been doing fine. They've left them alone. And here's the other one. This is a I think it's Skywalker juniper. So this one's put on new growth too. All of this new stuff like here, it's all new growth. So that one's going to get like, I think 12 feet tall and maybe only 2 feet wide. It's pretty narrow. Another highly deer resistant tree. Over here is peony. This is the one I transplanted last fall, and I'm getting one bud here. Where'd it go? Right there. Which is good, but it needs time to get a little bigger because it's still kind of small. But for the most part, they leave it alone. They will nibble in the fall on the foliage because they're morons. And I've seen some of the babies nip at the buds here and there. So, but for the most part, they don't really take the plant out. So it's somewhat deer resistant. And then I also just planted the other, like a week ago, all around here, and all around here, and all around this side right here. I planted anemone, poppy anemone windflowers. They're called Bordeaux. They're like a really pretty maroon, like a Bordeaux wine with like purple centers. So I can't wait to see that pop up. It's supposed to be, I think, in like summer. So we'll see what happens. So those are supposed to be deer resistant. We shall see. And then I planted my double bubble dianthus. Now these are really pretty. They're the pink color of bubblegum, but they're not your normal dianthus bloom. They have, they're like a double flower, hence double bubble, and they look more like little roses. So I thought it was so pretty, and I'm like, I gotta plant those. So I got another one there, and I have a third one that I still have to plant like over here. So they say they're deer resistant. We'll see. They have not touched it as of yet. And then here's my robustissima anemone, Japanese anemone. They are not deer resistant. I refuse to not plant them though, because I love them. I have it in my back garden, but I'm hoping once the miscanthus grass grows in, and I'm going to be putting a either a bird bath or like a solar fountain here. And then once they don't touch that, that's a Juncus corkscrew perennial. They don't have another one over there. They don't touch them except for in the winter, but they are evergreen. So if you don't want the jerk-faced deer touching them, just cover them. But honestly, they're going to get some winter damage. You're going to cut them back to the ground anyway, and that's what I did with these. And you can see they're just starting to pop up like crazy. But yeah, you can see all the stuff that I cut. I probably could have even cut even lower, but you just want to do that. And then they can also be divided over time, but they are highly deer resistant. They don't touch them spring, summer, fall. So I'm just hoping, like I said, that the bird bath and these two grasses, because the miscanthus is going to get pretty tall, like 4 or 5 feet tall and pretty wide. So I'm hoping that it kind of deters them because they won't see it. You know, it'll kind of block the morons. So we'll see what happens with that. And I wasn't sure. This is I don't know if you can see the new growth right here. This is my Blue Moon Wisteria, and I wasn't sure if it was going to come back, but because it was looking kind of shabby. But I'm only seeing the foliage, right, the new foliage there, so I'm guessing some of this stuff is all dead. So I'm probably going to have to cut that, but we'll see. I didn't want to cut it off just yet because I was having a hard time figuring out if it was dead or not. Because you want to just, like, scrape the bark, and if there's green, then it's not dead. But I was trying to scrape it, and it wouldn't scrape, so I don't know. Maybe I just have to get sharper shears or something. Oh, and there's some growth here. I don't know if you could see it there. There's also some new growth there. So I'm glad that's coming back. They did nibble at the foliage last year, but I do see this growing in the wild out here. So it could be just a matter, like I said, they're going to try anything that's newly planted because they're obnoxious, nosy, opportunistic jerk-offs. So, but over time, they start to leave stuff alone if they really don't like it. Now, the coneflowers, yeah, yes and no. I spray these with my cayenne pepper peppermint oil spray. And, you know, they don't really touch these, knock on wood, but they do kind of touch the Magnus coneflower that I have in my other flower bed, but I spray them with the spray too. And it still gets blooms, and they still do just fine. So, and these are called Fatal Attraction. They're like a real pretty, bright maroony pink color. And that one I just bought, so it's smaller. And I just planted that here. These are from a year or two ago, but so... and these were actually like over in, they were all in this vicinity. So I moved them. One there and one there. So I kind of want everything to just go along the pathway. So those are the plants in this flower bed. Oh, and I also have over here. Now, this Rose of Sharon shrub, I don't think it's coming back. I think it didn't last the winter. I don't see any new growth on it yet. But I'm not going to give up just yet. We'll give it a little longer and see what happens. But I don't know if you can see the new growth here. Like here. These are Lily of the Nile Galaxy Blue. I have another one over here. I'm seeing a little bit of growth there. Highly deer resistant. I've seen them nibble on the foliage a little bit, but then they leave it alone. Don't really touch the flowers. But I think what I'm going to end up doing with these is pulling them up and potting them in pots and putting the pots in the ground because, and I may move them to a different spot because they actually like to be root bound and they bloom better if they're root bound. Now this one bloomed pretty good last year. I had a bunch of blooms on there. This only had like 1 or 2. We'll see how they do this year, but eventually they're going to get transplanted in pots. But another highly deer resistant. Oh, Mr. Froggies. Yeah, he's jumping. I don't know if you can see him. He's so cute. Little tree frogs. They're all over the place. And then, so those are highly deer resistant. And then here's Ajuga. Every time I say Ajuga, I want to go Ajuga. Just makes me want to say it that way. But anyway, so you can see some of the blooms came up. Now, I lost a few of them over the winter, and it could be because we didn't have really much snow, so there was nothing to insulate the ground, so they could have just, you know, died from the freezing temps. But or because we had no snow, the deer could have eaten them, but they normally never touch these. They leave them alone. But they're just so awesome. They just keep coming back, and these are all going to get transplanted anyway. There's some in the back there. And these daffodils are going to get transplanted too. All right, so that's that. So the Ajuga, highly deer resistant also. And then I want to show you over here. This is my, God, the ground is so wet. It's like soup. This is my blue cloak white fir. Now, how funny, in my other video, I thought these were going to be cones because they looked like cones at first. Like, they look like this. And I was like, oh, there's going to be cones. And then, nope, it's all new growth. But look how pretty that growth is. It's like a yellowy, bluish color. It's just so pretty. So this is the blue cloak white fir. And we've got another growth right there, which is great, which means probably a new stem. Because I did lose a couple of the stems along here last year during the winter from the snow landing on it. Broke them off because it's still a young tree. But it is coming back and it's looking good, so it's going to eventually not look like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree anymore. But highly deer resistant. I took the cage off it a couple weeks ago, and it's doing great. The deer don't touch it. So fir trees, top deer resistant tree. These I have yet. This is a Himalayan cedar, and this is a Japanese cedar. Cryptomeria radicans, that one is. And this one is Snow Sprite. I swear to God, I think it already put on growth, which is crazy because I just planted this like a month ago. So that's amazing to me if it did, because it looks a lot taller than when I first planted it. So it seems to be doing fine. I have yet to figure out if these are deer resistant, but they say cedar is because like the fir and pine and spruce, they produce like a sticky resin. So I don't know. We'll see. But I have yet to take it out because they're young trees and I just don't trust the dirt bags. But I got to tell you, the deer have been literally not coming in my yard. They go around the perimeter. Now they changed their path. They used to come in here all the time. Probably because they're like, that crazy lady in that yard, she's always yelling at us like a deranged lunatic. Chasing us out of the yard. Yep, I do. And it's sad because I don't want them not in my yard because I love animals and wildlife, but I just don't want them to eat my plants. So if they could just hang out and eat the weeds and the grass and the dandelions, I'd be fine with that. But no, they got to come in here and eat. Now, the lilac, it's got new growth on it. They always chew on this. I don't even know why I bother with it. All right, and then we have my Japanese maple. It's got new growth on it. So far, they have not touched it yet, but they did get at it in the fall. And, but you know, we'll see what happens. So it's a very tiny tree that I bought for that one. And all right, so that's it for this video. So that's like this one area of my flower bed. Everything's starting to grow in. It's just, I'm going to be, keep adding more and more and more. In this flower bed I just started last summer. And as you can see, I dug up the sod there. I have to dig up more here, and I'm going to dig up more over there so that it matches the edge of the other side. So yeah, one thing at a time. So that's it. So those are my top deer resistant, or some are deer resistant, some aren't. But yeah. So that's it. And oh, over here, really quick. Poor thing. This is my sedum. And it's supposed to get like a chocolate color. And I have it covered because the moron deer will get at it. So they eat this, not deer resistant. I honestly don't know what I'm going to do with it. So I got to figure out something. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, and I also planted the windflowers around here and in the back over there. And next, in the fall, I'm going to plant more daffodils. Probably around there, like around this rock over here too. I don't know why I didn't. I think I was thinking stuff was going to grow in with the daffodils and I didn't want to crowd everything. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. But all good. So anyway, and then I still eventually have more stuff to do in the back there. And then I may have to get a new Rose of Sharon shrub, but I'm not doing any of this area until the deck has been refinished. And that's going to be a while, but because I have my fireplaces going in June, mid-June. So, all right, so that's this flower bed. So the ones that I say that are highly deer resistant, you could use them in your flower beds, in your gardens, and they should do just fine. So that's it for today's video, guys. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And if you're interested in hiring my design services, you can reach me at www.the-garden-whisperer.com. Until next time, guys, happy gardening. Talk to you soon. Bye.